Hello and welcome back to another video. I thought it would be a funny video to go through my level design, especially after the video I just posted, which was Level Design is Hard, where I voice my hatred for level design and just how frustrating and difficult and challenging it might be. So I thought, hey, this is a perfect time to make a video about level design and how I'm actually doing it in Suit for Hire. For those that are curious, this is the art exhibit, one of the newest levels that I've started working on. I like to call them chapters, so throughout the video, if you hear me say chapter, that's basically what it is. A chapter is essentially what I like to say is multiple levels or sections combined together. So technically, our older design had it so when you go from one level to the next, you would actually load the level. But that was our old design. Nowadays, we kind of just shift the player into the new area. So technically speaking, the new level or level 2 would be this spirally area. And then this would be level 1. Now, before I actually start working on stuff, I do want to say thank you to everybody that posted comments, replies, and feedback, and their concerns and overall how they felt about level design in the Level Design is Hard video. If you didn't watch that video, I definitely recommend watching it. I kind of voice my experience and stuff, and obviously I would also I don't usually say this often, but I would say look in the comments. There's a lot of really interesting experiences that people have had and opinions and things that they would give as feedback for Suit for Hire. Also, before I continue, I gotta say this because, yeah, Suit for Hire is 30% off on Steam if you want to pick it up until November 7th. Anyways, sorry, I had to get that out of the way. Hashtag ad. Before I continue and actually show off what we're going to work on in this video, I'm just going to show a couple screenshots and just overall things that we did to get to this result so far for the art exhibit. It went through a lot of little different iterating and things from the block out leading to where we are now. Obviously, a lot of changes happened, and a lot of more changes are going to happen in this video as I kind of explain some of the goals that we have for the art exhibit. A lot of really cool things. I'm taking into account a lot of feedback that I received in the Level Design is Hard video. One of the big things that I think I definitely should be focusing on more is the overall concept of trying to make levels that have something unique to them, something that has like a theme and something that draws players into that level. So for the art exhibit, something interesting that we're going to basically do is that there is going to be a specific guard, a specific character with a different design. Maybe they have a red suit. That's the overall idea right now. They're going to be in a red suit, and they actually roam around the level. And every single time you die, they would be randomly placed in a different spot throughout the museum. You're essentially trying to find this specific guard, and when you kill them or eliminate them, they're going to drop a red key card. Now, it's funny because somebody posted a comment, a really long essay, and thank you to the person that posted this. A lot of really interesting points in there that actually is pretty helpful, and I'm definitely going to take it moving forward when we work on the game, is putting locked doors and stuff like that. And, you know, we were actually doing that way before the comment was posted, and we started doing that in the shipyard, actually. In the shipyard, we have a specific section where you actually get locked off, and you have to fight off enemies for like a minute or so. So we're doing a lot of different things, especially with the Miami series, in hopes that it will strengthen the game and just make it more interesting. And I'm hoping that at some point we can go back to the campaign and do the same things there as well. That way the initial experience in the game feels good as well. But for now, this is what we got. And the idea with this first section is that you have to get the red key card, find the enemy, and then open up a door. Obviously, we don't have a door just yet, but the idea is that they're going to open up this door, and then that leads into the next part. So the majority of this level is actually in this chapter is the first level. It's the first section where you find the enemy in the red suit, because there's going to be it's pretty big. The art exhibit is pretty big. There's a lot of things happening in here. So here's the plan. We are essentially going to add a entryway on the right side of the art exhibit or museum, however you want to call it. And the goal for that is to give the player more options in terms of how they enter the art exhibit. This is relatively unique in terms of how our levels are structured. There's not that many levels where you enter in different ways and stuff like that, and it kind of makes it feel a little bit like it has inspiration from Hitman. And Hitman gives you a bit more like options in terms of how you can approach levels and stuff like that. So we're kind of taking that approach with this level and kind of making it like that's the unique part of this level, is that there's multiple entryways in, there's multiple ways to play this level and do things. So what I want to do is I want to go on ahead and maybe add a right side that the player can actually go into. And also it kind of makes sense because it would be like a fire exit and stuff like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to add things like maintenance corridors, which would kind of be like areas where maybe like security and stuff would go. And I also want to add something really cool, a security room. And the idea with the security room is that that could be a spot that the player goes to try to find where the red security guard would be. Now, how would they go about doing that? Well, I'm glad you asked. The idea is that I'm going to put 6 cameras throughout the world that are going to be probably low resolution with a low frame rate, and they are essentially going to be in the security room. So you'll be able to interact with like a display that'll show you 6 different TVs or 6 different displays that show you these cameras. So if the player wanted to, they could technically rush to the security room, look at the cameras, and try to find where the dude in red could be, which I think should be a pretty cool, fun mechanic. We're definitely going to make the security room a little bit more challenging to get into. That way there's a price to pay getting in there. And we could also make it so potentially the red security guard or the person in red that has the red key card could be in the security room. So it kind of adds an additional area that the guard could be in. I'm thinking, here's my issue with that, with adding an additional area to this. It's already really big. And the fact that they're going to be randomized every single time you die might make it a little daunting for the player to find that specific guard. But I guess through playtesting and stuff like that, maybe we'll see if like it works well. If not, maybe we adjust the locations where they can spawn and we kind of go with that. That being said, they're going to be roaming around. So if we technically made it so they spawned at the pool or in this water area, they could technically go on ahead and walk all the way over here instead, or even if the player is lost as hell, they could even maybe find their way in this corner of the level. Something I did is I played around with some different navigations, navigation pathing, and you can see that the pink area is the only spots that the roamer, I like to call them roamer, they're a different nav type, will be able to walk in. So there's no chance of them somehow exiting the museum, taking a bus, and leaving to Norway. Instead, they are locked in to the art exhibit. Now, I'm not going to work on this for this video. I have no clue how I'm going to make that work, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, enough theory and overall ideation. Let's start working on some level design. All right, well, here's what I started working on. I've adjusted this area a little bit, and I'm gonna have a maintenance corridor starting in the actual exhibit, which will also kind of break up the areas a bit, change it up a little bit, rather than just being one big box. So this maintenance corridor is most likely going to connect to the outside maintenance corridor that I've essentially blocked out a tiny space for. So we're going to have like a fire exit on the side or something like that over here. That way there is an additional entryway into here. And that'll also kind of reward the player for exploring a little bit. Rather than just going left or in the main entrance, they can go on the right side and kind of find a doorway or something. I think on the right side here, we're going to have like a car park, like a parking space or something. You won't be able to go in there, but it's enough to kind of be like ambient. I'm going to have to figure out some of this empty space here. Right now I'm using these hedges that we're having, so the hedges could be over here, but I don't want to overuse it too much because I feel like then it'll be kind of lame. So I think instead around here, maybe we'll have like a statue or fountain or something of this sort with some trees or something. This is supposed to be in Miami, so if anything, we could scatter some palm trees or something over here and on the sides over here as well. I'm using a mix of our wall generator mesh, which is kind of like our final result, and I'm also using blockout pieces. So you can see I'm still using these blockout pieces for the exterior because I have no clue what we're going to do with the outside just yet, but we're getting a bit of an idea in terms of the dimensions and shape we want to go with. And then of course we'll probably put the security area right here, so then there's a space. And what I intend on doing it is making it so it's far enough away so that the camera doesn't actually see the security room. That way you have to walk into the security room to actually get an idea of what's inside of there. For those that are curious, you're probably looking at this and thinking, what are these ugly looking walls on the outside? Well, these walls are only to be used for shadowing. That's it. So in game, these don't actually show up at all, not having any lighting in here, and instead just having it from the window frames, as you can tell here. So this isn't actually going to appear in game. Neither are these roofs, although I do have to apply the proper settings to them so they don't appear. The reasoning why I made it so there's two separate walls. So these gameplay walls are much easier to see at this height. When you have walls like this, it becomes extremely annoying for the camera and also makes it so we have to mask out stuff. But I still like to be able to show that there is like thickness to these. So we essentially separated into two sections. We're still using the blockout pieces for this, and they still work, so it's not a big issue. I'm not focusing too much on the art, although I did put a bunch of shit in here that I didn't necessarily need. I did notice that I might have scaled the wall incorrectly, but no worries there. But now you kind of get a bit of an understanding as to why we have different walls that are, you know, hiding and whatnot. I do need to apply that to the roof, so I might just do that real quick. All right, well, here's what I got so far. This maintenance hallway is taking a little bit longer than I wanted because these walls have different scales and stuff like that, which is making it a bit more difficult to figure out. Also, I don't know what I did here, but it would appear I can't fit through the door anymore. Not sure, might need a diet. I don't know. All right, well, I went on the treadmill for a little bit and now I figured it out. What actually happened is this doorway had a weird collision, and when I scaled it, it also scaled the collision in a weird way. So just fixed that up and we're good. Now we got our door that we can go through. The door happily clips the wall. It's okay, we can ignore that. We got a second door over here, and I apparently can't walk through this one either. Anyways, whatever, that's completely irrelevant. I'll get that stuff fixed up. Yeah, I'm worried that this hall is too straight. It's too boring. There's nothing really here. So I'm a little worried about that. We can only do so much in terms of trying to separate it using like pipes and stuff. I still feel like it's just one big straight pathway, which is a little worrisome, but hopefully we can get that figured out. If anything, I'll try to concept some more ideas here and get something going. All right, well, I've begun working on the security area. There's still quite a bit that we still need to work on. And by quite a bit, I mean a lot. We have a little bit of the structure in here. Of course, like I mentioned, I am definitely still pretty worried about the structure of the hallway, because I feel like the hallway has no like life to it. I separated it with an additional door, but I feel like it's still just one big long hallway which has no substance to it. So something I might do is just extend the art exhibit this way towards the wall and then do a little cutoff. That way these are like separated into two different hallways, which might be a little bit more interesting. It also kind of forces players that go in through the fire exit to also expose themselves to the actual art exhibit. That way they don't just get a straight pathway, no enemies seeing them, that kind of thing. They actually have to expose themselves to the art exhibit and whatever guards might be around here. So I think I might do that because right now I don't know, it's just boring, the fact that there's just one big long hallway. So I think that's something we'll do. I don't know where I'm going to start the corridor. I might just start it right here, to be honest. Like I could just start the additional security corridor right here. I think that's what I'm going to do. Of course, there's a lot of little art issues here. Like right here you can tell, and over here, but don't worry, we'll patch that up. For now, I don't really care about that right now. I just kind of want to get the structure and the overall gameplay of this down. That way we know what's happening, right? I don't think I'm going to be able to do any more than that in this video. I think we're just going to focus on the security area and adding that and kind of my thought process behind level design and personally. And I kind of want to get your guys' opinions on, am I doing it correctly? Am I doing it wrong? Could I improve my workflow a little bit? Or could I show more on the video in terms of like our level design process? But yeah, if anything, this is like a mix of level design and environment art. It's not just level design, but obviously right now what we're focusing on is the level portion. I think I'm not going to show all the environment art part on this video. Onwards to getting more of this done. All right, I've made some extremely large adjustments to this whole section, and I think it is a big improvement, to be honest. So this entire section kind of runs like this. The player could potentially go through here, wrap around. I added this and opened this up a little bit more, so then if there's any enemies in this area, they would see the player, because I noticed it was super closed off from everything else. And then I kept the pillars because I kind of like the pillars here, and it's really nice because there's this big open area right here where you can easily just get spotted, and you don't get like this one-way path straight to the security area. The security area kind of has its own little section here. Maybe kind of close it off with like some glass or something here, which could look really cool. And I think this is going in the right direction. I think this is going to be really exciting, but I'm really happy with how this came about. I think the sacrifice here is that there's going to be mechanics in here that the player might not ever see. Only a percentage are actually going to ever see some stuff in here. And I think that's the sacrifice to make. Based on how Hitman is designed, I think they know that that is the sacrifice that they're going to be making, is that some parts of the level are just not going to be seen. And I guess hoping that the player replays this level, hopefully they can see more areas of this entire level. It would be good to maybe put some hidden stuff here and there, like hidden weapons would be really cool. I think the overall idea is that the art exhibit is not publicly open right now, even though the front entrance is there. But what I might do is maybe make it so there's some signs that say closed for the day or something like that, or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out, because obviously there's going to be a lot of guards and stuff. And of course, this is owned by like a mob boss. That's the idea. An Italian mob boss owns the art exhibit. So you're just trying to take them out. That's the overall idea. Let me just add some glass and stuff in here and kind of get the room set up, and then I think we're going to wrap this video up. Alrighty then. I am feeling pretty good about the overall structure of this. We have multiple doorways that lead into here. I think this area is fine, how open it is or how long it is, because we're gonna have pipes and stuff in here. I'm gonna use this as kind of like a little safe zone for the player. As long as they don't lead an enemy in here, this is kind of gonna be like a little bit of a safety area. But this area, essentially you walk through, and of course there's possibilities of enemies roaming around in here. And then we have the security area, which is in the back here. and then you end up through a door over here, and then you're in the security area. I kind of want to make this a bit of a management area as well. So we might have some more tables and stuff in here, and we're probably gonna have like a gun rack in here as well, because that would make sense. But I added some glass. I'm feeling pretty good about the glass being added here. It kind of looks cool, and it breaks up the room a bit. I think it might be nice to maybe have one wall piece here rather than just full-on glass, but I think we're just going to go with that, and it should be pretty cool. This should be like a pretty fun area. We'll have like a bunch of grunts in here, and if anything, we can also make this door activate a slow-mo, so then that way you're like shooting a bunch of dudes in here, and that should make this area feel pretty cool, pretty fun, and also add a interesting mechanic where you'll be able to interact with the monitors. Now, we'll have to do all of that, and if anything, we're going to make it so there's like a box here that shows interact. That way you know that this is interactable. This is kind of like a little introduction to how I'm level designing the levels in Suit for Hire. But yeah, I don't think I can do a full-on extensive video because there's a lot of theory stuff in this video, a lot of kind of like reasoning as to why I'm doing things, and the design behind things. I think it's pretty interesting already, just kind of showing off how I'm laying out the walls and rooms and whatnot, reasoning as to why I'm like doing certain things, not just having big, long, straight hallways. Even some of these might be a little bit boring. And of course, what we'll do when we level design this even further in environment art is we'll lay out boxes, little pipes, stuff like that, things to break up the straightness on these walls, because you don't want to keep things too straight. That ends up being kind of bland and boring. But you know, as we work on this more, we'll kind of be able to have some interesting results here. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think about the overall process, if I'm doing things right, if I'm doing things wrong. Of course, I've been doing a bunch of level design for this game since it released, or ever since it was in development prior to the early access release. And I feel like I've improved a lot. Our older levels were super linear and straight and didn't have too much detail to them, but now that I've learned a lot more and we have more of the gameplay mechanics to our disposal, I can kind of understand what to do with all of that, which gives me better ideas in terms of like what I can do and whatnot. But I'm slowly learning, and at some point I would love to maybe make a second video where we can do the level design for the boss room, which is going to be this pretty cool grand room. Maybe it'll be more like an environment art video, because there's going to be more environment art than level design, to be honest. So that'd be kind of cool. Let me know what you think. But yeah, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.